The start of a new year. You're starting off with some pretty great goals, and you're determined to make them a reality. Oh, wait a second, no, that was like 7 months ago. It just feels like a bit of a new beginning, with the world being allowed to reopen and get some freedoms back that the lockdown had imposed on everyone. Also, we finally had some warm weather here in central British Columbia, and that feels refreshing after a fairly extended, soggy spring. But back to the point of the video. How to stay motivated all year round. Armed with enthusiasm and a plan of action, at the start of the year, you wrote down every goal, because that's what all successful people do, right? With intention glowing around you, 2020 started off on the right foot, and for a while, some real progress was made. But as April rolled on, motivation turned into lackluster indifference, fueled by a few excuses and overall discouragement. Oh, and the wrath of Rona, as I've started calling it, has probably also been a factor in it all. Sound familiar? It does to most people. A whopping 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by the first week of February. That's like a month. So I can only imagine what the number was like this year given the curveball that everyone was thrown. I know for myself, it completely interrupted my fitness and health goals. And did so for an extended period of time because I just assumed that it would all blow over within a month, and I just didn't adjust quickly enough to the reality of not having access to a gym facility or being allowed outdoors, really. So most people can relate. Motivation is easy to come by when the goal is new, fresh, and exciting. But once you realize it has to become a part of your lifestyle and you have to form a habit, it's not as easy to keep that going. Add on top of that actual physical restrictions that were put into place this spring, keeping you from progressing on your goals, work, or lifestyle, and it's not hard to see why some people struggle. Change is always a difficult thing, and to be successful at inspiring lasting change, it takes building up of habits and creating structure. But I think a lot of times we struggle in creating an actual structure that allows us to build these good habits. To cultivate lasting change, motivation needs to be approached like a marathon rather than a sprint. But how exactly is that structure created? How can you keep motivation high when that New Year's glow wears off? And how can you stay motivated to hit your goals and be productive all year round? Let's examine 5 ways to keep your productivity high all year long. So here are 5 ways to get back into it and to keep that motivation train cruising at high speed for the rest of the year. The one that I find most important is that mindset matters. Whenever you make a resolution, you have every intention of following through with it. But if you really want to succeed, don't focus on the resolution. Focus on the mindset. Focus on the lens through which challenge is viewed. When it comes to staying motivated, productive, and focused on crushing your goals, there are only 2 areas of thought: a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. These terms were pioneered in Mindset, a New Psychology of Success, the groundbreaking 2006 book on motivation by Stanford University psychologist and TED speaker Carol Dweck, which also happens to be one of the 3 books that were defining shifts in my life's trajectory after having read and applied their teachings. So I would very highly encourage everyone to read it and have your children read it also. The sooner they understand how to get into and remain in a growth mindset, the sooner they will find themselves following worthwhile pursuits instead of mindless ventures. With a fixed mindset, you tend to operate under the assumption that your current situation is set in stone. The person you are today is the person you're going to be forever. Those who have a fixed mindset, they don't believe that they can improve, and so they're less likely to invest in themselves and continue investing in themselves when the going gets tough. With a growth mindset, you believe that with effort, you're capable of growth and change. Those with a growth mindset, they believe that they can improve, and they believe that even if the going gets tough, they're going to keep going. Those with a fixed mindset believe that their innate set of skills, qualities, and talents are predetermined and cannot change regardless of intention to change them. On the other hand, those with a growth mindset believe that their skills, qualities, and talents can be adapted, evolved, and developed through effort, hard work, and dedication. Here's a basic example of how a better mindset can improve the chances of achieving your resolutions. Your resolution: to spend less time mindlessly scrolling through social media during work hours. With a fixed mindset, the first time you find yourself scrolling through Instagram while on the clock, you'd think, well, that's it, I just don't have the resolve to stay away from my phone. With a growth mindset, this approach didn't work, but no worries, I'm going to try stashing my phone in my desk and see if that keeps me from being distracted. Having a growth mindset can make it easier to continue working towards your goals, even if you run into challenges or roadblocks, because of the inherent belief that you're capable of changing and developing the skills necessary to succeed. Those with a growth mindset are going to be more effortful and more persistent towards goals than those with a fixed mindset. But how exactly can you make the shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? Experts recommend a few different exercises, including collecting small wins. In order to develop a growth mindset, you need to truly believe that you can improve. So why not give yourself proof? By taking on more manageable challenges and collecting small wins, you'll help to prove that you're undeniably capable of making changes and improvements, which give you the confidence and motivation you need to start working towards bigger goals. Another exercise is changing your internal dialogue. The way that you talk to yourself can play a huge role in your actions. If you tell yourself that you can't change, you won't. But if you tell yourself that you're capable of growth, growth becomes possible for you. If you struggle with negative self-talk, focus on changing your internal dialogue. For example, by telling yourself, I'm learning from X instead of I'm failing at X. And that can be one of the most powerful exercises for moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And this is something that I struggle with every day. In the past, I've spoken to myself in very derogatory terms whenever I would fail or screw something up. And that just made me feel shameful, which did nothing to make me want to improve. Recently though, I've noticed that while I still default into speaking to myself in this way, I've also observed that I've caught myself more quickly either right after or sometimes even before speaking to myself in that manner. It's allowed me to instantly flip the criticism into encouragement and view the moment as an opportunity to grow and improve. And the difference in my psyche has just been pretty astounding. It's a practice that I work on every day now, and I hope that some of you will too. And when speaking about working on your mindset, the last exercise is to meditate. Meditation has been shown to increase resilience, or in other words, the ability to better deal with challenges and bounce back from failure or adversity. In other words, pump up the zen. Moving on to number 2. When motivation is lacking, phone a friend. It would be great if you were intrinsically motivated and able to hit every goal just because you made a commitment to yourself. But the truth is, commitments to yourself are often the hardest to keep. If your goals are totally isolated, it's just you by yourself, oftentimes those are the ones where it's easy to quit. If you want to stay motivated and productive to hit your goals consistently and for the long run, then you should plan to enlist the help of an accountability partner. The accountability factor is usually the biggest thing that keeps people going. You feel more willing to push through because there's someone else involved. Staying motivated and productive all year round can be challenging, but adding a layer of social support can make it a whole lot easier. Now, way to stay motivated, number 3. Make it worth your time. Define your why. Setting a resolution because you should do something may work for a little while, but if you don't have a strong why behind your resolution, it's going to be hard to stay motivated in the long term. If you want to stay motivated, you have to be connected in an emotional way with your goal to begin with. It can't just be a logical thing. It really has to be an emotional attachment. You should spend some time defining your why behind your New Year's resolution. For example, maybe your resolution is to spend more time working on your side hustle and turning it into a full-time gig. Knowing the why behind that goal, whether that's having more freedom and flexibility in your life or getting the opportunity to turn your artistic passion into a job, will make it easier to stay motivated to make the necessary sacrifices to hit that goal in the long term. For example, saying no to after-work happy hour to go home and work on your website or your script. And way number 4, plan to fail. One of the biggest reasons people lose motivation to hit their resolutions and abandon them within weeks is because they fail. For example, you skipped a day at the gym when you made a promise to yourself that you'd make workouts a part of your daily routine. Have you ever heard the old saying, failing to plan is planning to fail? As it turns out, planning to fail might not be such a bad idea. No matter how committed and motivated you are to hit a goal, you're going to run into setbacks, mistakes, and failures. But if you plan and you work them into your goal from the get-go, it becomes much easier to stay committed and motivated in the long term, even when you get off track. In fact, embracing failure as a part of the process isn't just a way to stay motivated. It might even help you smash your goals in the long run. One recent study found that early failure might actually be an indicator for future success. According to the study, which studied the career trajectory of scientists, having an early miss in their career increased the probability of participants publishing a successful scientific paper. Another example, if your goal is to work out every day, go into it knowing that there are days you're just not going to be able to make it to the gym because no one's perfect and stuff comes up. So develop a contingency plan for when you skip a workout. Tell yourself, if I skip a workout, I won't beat myself up about it. Instead, I'll journal on why I didn't have the motivation to hit the gym that day, and then start fresh the next morning. That way you don't look at skipping a workout as a failure. It's something you planned for and know exactly how to deal with. Another thing that I like to do is to never fail twice. So if I miss a workout at the gym one day, the next day I make sure that I'm there, because that way I may have lost a day, but I'm not turning it into a losing streak. So reset the streak. When you fail, you already know that it's built into the system, and that's a lot easier for you then to bounce back from than thinking you will stay perfect every day. And way number 5 to stay motivated, guys, is just forget resolutions. Set daily, monthly, quarterly, and annual goals. New Year's resolutions tend to be grand sweeping life changes like running a marathon or hitting the 6-figure mark in your business by the end of the year. But using the new year as an excuse to completely overhaul your life can be totally overwhelming, and the chances of burning out by the time February hits are high. Instead of trying to make major changes in your life, pinpoint some goals that you'd like to continuously improve on in daily, monthly, quarterly, or annually. By breaking down larger resolutions into smaller, more achievable goals, you'll be able to see more progress in real time, helping you to stay motivated all 12 months of the year. Now, long-term is very difficult to plan for. It's hard to see all the changes that will happen over the course of a year. So anytime that you can shorten the goal in terms of the deadline, it really makes that goal much more achievable. So let's recap everything. Losing steam from your New Year's resolutions as time passes on is totally relatable. However, there are ways that you can keep the motivation alive through February and beyond. If you feel your grasp on your goals starting to slip, remember to focus on moving your mindset from fixed to growth. Number 2, look for ways to attach external accountability. Number 3, get clear on your why. Number 4 is to embrace failure as part of the process. And number 5 is to break down overwhelmingly large resolutions into smaller, more manageable goals with shorter timelines. It can be difficult to stay committed to your goals once the magic of the new year starts to fade. But with the necessary tools to stay motivated and productive in the long term, your hindsight of these goals will soon be 2020.